Hello, my name is Matt Davis, and starting next week I'm going to be your Math 53 instructor. A little quick bit of information about myself. I do enjoy hiking, and if I'm hiking around water and I can find a good spot to jump in, I will do so. So this picture is from Pinecrest a couple years ago. I also enjoy snowboarding, where apparently I also like to jump off of things. So there's a quick glimpse into who your teacher is. But what this video is really about is getting you ready for the first day of class. And I sent you an email that has a list of things that you should get done before that first day, some of which are actually due before class even starts. So you could just read through that list. That would probably go okay. But I want to show you in this video how to accomplish all those things too, because sometimes it's easier to see things than to just read them. And I can give you a little extra detail in the video compared to when I was just typing. So the first thing on that list says go to the Math 53 webpage and download the Chapter 1 notes packet, and then there's a link right below that you can click on to get to the Math 53 page. But I want to show you how to get there when you don't have that email handy, and you can just do that through Google. So if you go to Google and you type in your instructor's name, Matt Davis, and you type in your school name, Chabot, those two pieces of information are enough to get you to me. So the top link that shows up is my Chabot directory. So if we click on that, it just kind of says my phone number, office number, email, stuff like that. But it also has my website address. And it's super messy. You'd never want to type that in. I use Google Docs, and it has messy links. But you can click on it, and that gets you back to that page where I started just a moment ago with me jumping off the rock in the snow. And oh my, this one's clickable. You might consider clicking that when you're here just to see what surprise is behind that picture. But right now, back to the task at hand, which is to download the Chapter 1 notes packet from the Math 53 links page. So here's that Math 53 links page, and we're going to click on that and go find the notes. But notice here it says this link is only available through Mymathlab after the first exam. So after that first exam hits, if you want to get to the Math 53 webpage, you would have to sign into Mymathlab first, and then there's a link built in there. However, if when you click on the link right now, if we can make that work, then you could just bookmark this, and then you won't have to go through Mymathlab in the future, and that can be useful. Maybe you're just needing to look at the calendar to see what videos you need to watch before the next class, and you have maybe just your phone handy, but if you've bookmarked this page, you could get there quickly instead of having to sign into Mymathlab. So I would suggest that, but our task right now is to download and print the notes packet. So if I scroll down, I find the notes packet link, so I'll click on that. And we have all of our notes packets for the semester here. And I will generally print these and provide them to you during class time. But the first one we're supposed to watch before that first class meeting, so that one's going to be on you to print. So what you want to do is click on that to open it up. And it's actually possible just to click on the printer icon right here and print it directly from your browser. However, there's some math in here like fractions, and pi and square roots, some symbols that your browser might not handle well when it goes to print. So what I would suggest instead of that is doing the download. And I'll show you that. In fact, let's go ahead and click on download and get that taken care of. And that should show up over here in my downloads bar. Sometimes that's up here on different browsers, but you should hopefully be familiar with your download, where your downloads go on your computer. But just looking at the notes real quick, these are not filled in, it's just more of a template. So there's some blanks that need to be filled in. When examples come along, there's usually just blank space for you to do your work. And it's not my expectation that you would know how to do these things yet. So what you want to do is print these, and then you're going to watch lecture videos that has these packets in them, and I'm going through them and filling them in with you. So you don't have to figure it out on your own. I'll guide you through that when you watch the videos. So again, we download the packet, and what you want to do is not click on it. Because if you click on it, it just opens it back up in the browser again. So click on this arrow to the right, and then this doesn't show up in the video I'm making, but it says show in folder. And if I do that, then it pops up my downloads folder, and I can see that Chapter 1 packet. Now if we double click on it here, it'll open it in software that's on your computer, and that will print better. So I double click on that to open it. A little bit of a delay, but then here it is. And it's just the same thing again, but when you're opening it from your computer in software that's designed to read PDFs, it often prints a little bit better. So that would be my suggestion as far as downloading and printing. Alright, so once we get that packet, we want to fill it in. So to fill it in, we want to go to the lecture videos. So if we click back on the Math 53 webpage, right below the notes packet link is the lecture videos. So if we click on that, we see all of the videos through the semester. And there's probably about 2 hours worth right here, which seems like a lot, but we only meet for 2 hours a week when the other Math 53 classes meet for 6. So that's the hybrid nature of this, is you're going to put in some of that time outside of class. So if you click on the Chapter 1 video, it'll take you to a YouTube video. It'll walk you through those notes and help you fill them in. And then when you're done with Section 1, go on to 1.2, 1.3, 1.4. So it is your job before the first class to watch those first 4 videos, have that Chapter 1 notes packet filled in, and bring it with you to class. But the other thing you have to do is take a short quiz that kind of verifies for me that you watch the videos, but also for you kind of make sure that you got the content too. You don't want to watch it and not really have had it sink in. So the quiz will kind of give you a chance to assess that. Alright, so that means we need to get into Mymathlab to take that quiz. And you don't have to pay for it yet. You can get 2 weeks of temporary access, so don't freak out about like I don't have the money yet. Let me go ahead and show you roughly what that process would look like. So on the email it says to go to the Mymathlab First Day of Classes document. So that's off our Math 53 links page also. We want to go just below lecture videos to other miscellaneous handouts. And there's a few different things in there about using calculator and stuff like that, but there's also this Mymathlab First Day of Class document. And if you click on that, that has the directions that you need to follow through to get a Mymathlab account set up. I just want to highlight a couple points on this. I'll let you read through this and set up your account on your own. One of them is during the process you're going to be asked for the course ID. So here that is right here. This video, when you watch it, might be from a different semester. So don't take the course ID off of the video. Make sure you take it off of the document itself. And then the other thing that I want to make you aware of is that if you've bought the book, you'll have an access code, or you could pay directly online. And those are the buttons that are going to be easy to find. But you can also get 2 weeks of temporary access, and that's what I think you should do now before the course gets started. Don't worry about the access code or the credit card. Just go for temporary access, and then you have 2 weeks to pay for the course and make it permanent. All right. One other thing to mention here is that if you have taken a math class before where you had Mymathlab, then if it was a previous course, like say Math 104, then still use the same login and password. You'll still have to set up a Math 53 class, but you should just use the same login and password so you don't get your current one mixed up with an old one. There's no problem with using the same one again. If you are taking Math 53 for the second or third time and you used Mymathlab before, then you should just go sign into that old course. There should be a spot that you can click on that says register for a new course. When you click on that, it'll ask for a course ID, and then take the one from the sheet on the web page, type that in, it'll just switch you over and you won't have to pay again. So it's kind of nice if, you know, it's bad that you didn't pass the class last time, but it's nice that you don't have to pay again. All right, so I'm going to leave it to you to go through that process and get all registered for Mymathlab. And assuming that you've done that, the next thing you'd want to do is sign into Mymathlab and take the video quiz for those Chapter 1 notes that you watched and try and get at least a 60% on that. So I'm going to just go ahead and type my way there. So www.mymathlab.com, and you'll go through the register now part at first. I already have an account. I can't show you that because I have an educator's account. If I click on this student account, it messes up my account, so I'm going to have to let you go through that process on your own using the first day of class sheet that has the step-by-step on that. I'm just going to click sign in because I have an account already, and then because it's all set up, I just click on the course that we're talking about, and then it's going to load up a welcome screen, and I want to find the quiz, so I'm going to click on quizzes and tests. But anytime you're looking at assignments, I would suggest you look at all the assignments, not just homework, not just quizzes. So I'm going to switch this to show all assignments. The reason I like this better is because it shows you things in the order that you should be doing them. You could do the orientation if you want, that's optional. Here's the link to Math 53 page. It's also over here on the side. But after that is your assignment. So the first thing you should be doing this semester in Mymathlab is the video quiz. Then you'll work on homework, and then you'll take the real quiz. The video quiz is just brief to make sure that the notes clicked with you, not that you're an expert on the chapter yet. We will then do some things to try and make us more of an expert on the chapter. We'll work on chapter 1 homework, and I'll show you a little bit of that later. And then in class we'll work on collaborative together, where we will work on some problems from the chapters that we're working on at the time, and it'll give you a chance to ask each other questions and to ask me questions about things that didn't click in the video. So don't worry about it too much if you're not an expert on it after you watch the video. You just want to get an idea of what's going on, and the video quiz's job is to check that. So we're going to go ahead and click on that. It is timed. It varies from assignment to assignment. This first one apparently is 15 minutes. Click on Start, and when you go to start it, it's going to pop up a little window here that tells you where to look on your notes for help. So the instructor tip says page 2 of your notes has a similar example of this problem. So the idea is this is just to verify that you've watched the videos, right? So you can open up your notes to page 2. As soon as you know what page to look at, you can close this up, and then there should be a question somewhat like this on page 2. And so if you don't know what to do on this immediately when you read it, then go look at page 2 of your notes again, and that should give you some help. And if you happen to have closed that window and then later you realize, like, oh shoot, I don't know what to do on this, I better look at my notes. If you click on the question help and click on instructor tip, it'll pop that back up and remind you what page it's on. So I'll go ahead and work through this first one with you. Consider the following numbers. Which of these are irrational? So those would be the ones that cannot be written as a fraction of integers. So the pi would be one of them. Notice when I click in the answer box, it pops up some tools for me. So I can click on pi and then separate your answers with a comma. So I'll put a comma in there. And then a square root of a number like 5 is also irrational. So I'll click on the square root symbol and type the 5 in. Right, and I think that's it for the irrationals. Everything else could be written as a fraction of integers. So then I would want to click on this arrow to proceed to the next question. But I'm not going to go through the whole quiz with you. So I'm just going to go ahead and click submit now. And it'll give you a warning. It's giving me a warning because I only answered one question, not 3 of them. So you normally would want to answer all the questions. I'm just trying to make the video a little shorter. So I'll click on submit, and then it'll tell me how I did. And I got the question I answered right. That's nice. The other ones I missed because I didn't answer them right. So I didn't get a very good score on that. You want to get at least a 60%. So make sure you're answering all the questions, and then you want this to be a 60% or higher. Now let's say you do that and you don't get a 60%. That's okay, because you get infinitely many tries at this. You just got to look over here to see, sorry, this is the one, the video quiz. Look over here to see when it's due. So make sure that you try as many times as you need to by that due date to get it up to a 60% or higher, and then that way you're getting credit for having watched the videos. Alright, if you're having trouble getting the 60%, you make sure you watch the notes and make sure you have them open, but if that's not enough, maybe start working on the homework a little bit. Now after you work on the homework, go back and try it. But a lot of times just watching the video will be enough. Alright, so that's the main thing, is watching those videos and getting that quiz done. That's the number one thing I'm looking for you to have done when we meet that first time. But the other thing that would be useful and is required is to look over the syllabus and complete the syllabus quiz. So let me just show you those things real quick. If we go to the Math 53 links page, near the top is the syllabus. So I can click on that and open it up, and then you could just read through the whole syllabus, try and get a feel for like what's going on in the class, and then try and answer the syllabus quiz questions, or you can open the quiz first and do a treasure hunt, as you come by things. So If I go back to the Math 53 links page, down near the bottom is the Syllabus Quiz. When that pops up, type your first and last name, and then when they ask you a question like, under what circumstance can you be dropped from the class for poor attendance, then you want to just go back to that syllabus and look for that information. If you're having trouble finding the answers to some of those questions, then here's a little trick. You could use the Find on your browser to help you out. So if you're on a PC, Windows PC, Control F. If it was a Mac, it's Command F. And then I could type like dropped and press enter, and it'll show me where the word drop shows up. And so it says after that you could be dropped. So after what? You're only allowed 3 absences. So if you have more than 3 absences, apparently you could be dropped from the class. So if you use the Find, that could help you maybe navigate through the syllabus quiz a little quicker. And once you get that syllabus quiz done and you've got your video quiz up to 60% or higher, you have accomplished what you need to for that first day of class, and you can feel like you're tired and stop right there, and I'll see you at that first meeting. But if you want to go a little bit further and just kind of get a head start on the class before your other classes get going, then I have a few suggestions for you there. So one of them would be to get started on the homework in Mymathlab. So let me find that Mymathlab assignment again. Again, always have it on all assignments. And let's look at the homework a little bit. So some things to note about the homework assignments will list the videos too, so in the future if you want you could just go straight to the homework assignment and use that to watch your videos, try a few problems, and then do the video quiz. And then the next thing would be to just jump into a homework and see what some of the tools available there are. So I'm opening up a homework assignment, and I just want to point out a couple things to you here. There's some information that's important to know on these problems. One of them is this is the problem number, but this is chapter number, section number, and problem number. So that first part tells you you're in chapter 1, section 1. So if you're looking at a problem and you get stuck on it, you should look at your notes, and this will tell you what section of your notes to look at. Say you find an example in your notes that's like this, but it's not making sense to you, then you could go to the assigned media and click on the section it came from, go find just that one problem and watch it again, and maybe that'll help you. So those are a couple things you can do to get unstuck. There's some other Mymathlab sources as well. There's the textbook. If you click on the textbook, it'll open up the section this problem came from. It won't go straight to an example just like this, so you'll have to scroll through the book to see if you can find one that's helpful. But it's important to note that your book is part of Mymathlab in an electronic version, so you don't actually have to buy the physical book if you don't want to. You can just go with the ebook that comes with Mymathlab. And we'll talk about that on the first day a little bit. But the other important thing that I wanted you to see is this Help Me Solve This. What Help Me Solve This will do is it'll just walk you through this problem step by step and explain to you how to do it. Which seems like, well, we should just do that first, right? But if you use Mymathlab to walk you through the problem, it won't give you credit for that problem. But after you're done, you can do a similar problem, and when you do that, then you'll get credit for it. So if you use Help Me Solve This, you have to do the problem twice. So because of that, a lot of people don't like to use it because they don't want to do the problem twice. But I've heard from a lot of students before, like, oh, I couldn't find an example anywhere, like, problem number 1. Well, if you can't find an example like it, then that's when you use Help Me Solve This, because that will be this problem worked out. Okay, so that's important to keep in mind. All right, so there's a quick look at the homework, so you might consider just getting started on that. Let me go ahead and close that up. All right, and looking at the next thing, a couple other things. Again, these are optional, but if you wanted to get a head start on next week's stuff, you could complete the beginning of semester survey. So if you go to the Math 53 webpage, near the top there's a beginning of semester survey, just some background information on you that I'd like to get. Also ask some questions to collect some data that we might use later on. And then the final one would be to read the Brainology article and take the response survey. That is also on this page. Click here to open the Brainology article. After you've read it, I have a few survey questions. Not really survey questions, it's more like a reading response, but it's in survey format. And those two things are going to be due next week. so you don't have to do them now, the beginning of semester survey and the brainology response, but if you get them done, then you can just focus on the math next week and not all these other things. Alright, so there's a little bit of a preview for what's coming up for you on the course. I hope this video helped you to get those assignments done that you needed to, but if you have other questions, we'll be meeting soon and you can ask me in person. Don't worry right now if any of this seems overwhelming. You know, we got some time to figure it out, to go back and forth, to work in groups. There's lots of stuff besides the video to help you get through the class, but this is what you need to do to get started, so give it a try, and I will see you next week.